Hello, and welcome to the Paranormal Operator YouTube channel, where we talk about all manner of things that go bump in the night. Here, we discuss sightings, news, investigations, and of course, popular media surrounding the paranormal, supernatural, and occult phenomena. So settle in as we search for the truth. I am your host, Adam, Operator 23. In tonight's episode of Operator Movie Reviews, I will give you my initial reaction to Madame Web. So you might be thinking to yourself, Operator, why are you reviewing this? It's a comic book movie. It doesn't have anything to do with the paranormal. Well, actually, it does. A little bit. Because in the movie it uses ESP and clairvoyance along with a whole other menu of Claire titled abilities that I figured, since parapsychology is one of the aspects of the paranormal that I research, I figured I would give it a go and show you kind of how I felt about the film and how I thought it delivered on it. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to give you my fair 2 cents about the movie itself. This will be a two-parter. The first part will be spoiler-free, and then the second half, which will be longer, will contain spoilers. So, I didn't really care for this movie. I don't think it was horrible, as some people have said that it is probably worse than Morbius. I don't quite think that. I did, however, see it on opening night, and there were probably no more than about 16 people in the theater. So, 16, but no more than 2 dozen. And as far as spending money on this movie, I would not recommend going to the cinemas, paying money to see this movie. Now, if you are a Marvel completist and you have to see them all, fine. Or if you want to, support your local cinema, fine. But I'm not going to sit here and recommend this movie to you. So as I said, many have compared this movie to Morbius, but I don't think it's quite that bad. It is, however, sitting at a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is technically lower than Morbius. Some have even said that it is hilarious due to just how bad it is. I think, if anything, I would probably fall into this camp. The budget was, at first I heard 80 million. However, I've seen it quoted as being higher than 100 million. And folks, this is not a $100 million movie. So far as I'm aware, as of February 19th, it had only made $51.9 million worldwide. So, what about the ESP? I think that the representation in the movie is interesting, to say the very least. The analogy of an interconnected web made of decisions, actions, and consequences is rather intriguing. The only downside is you have to watch some of the scenes multiple times, and that can be a bit of a slog, because I know there's at least one scene where she's on a train, and I think you see it 4 times. Like, it happens, and then it continues going, and then it stops, and it's like, oh, it's a vision. And then it goes, and it goes, and it goes a little bit further, and like, oh, no, wait, it's a vision, and it starts over. So, there is that. Another thing that I guess maybe you could say it's a nitpick, but I think it's a mechanical issue, is just the fact that, let's say you had a vision that something is going to occur in a certain order, right? And, well, if you change one of the events in that order, that will cause everything from that event forward to be different. So you are now in uncharted territory. And I don't think the film really accounts for this. It kind of does, but it's not really. I don't think so. And also, the film does play around with astral projection, but I'm not going to go into that too much because I don't want to get into spoilers just yet. What I will say is that, the film itself, the lines are bad. Some of the stuff is straight up ADR, like it has to be, because it doesn't even look like it's matching up with their lips. And I've only seen this once, and that was like a week ago. So I'm going from memory. I haven't seen it again. Probably will not see it again. Um, and there's a lot of plot contrivances. There's, it's just a bad movie. The logic doesn't flow. The scenes seem like they're just kind of strung together. And there's parts where the CGI is it's questionable. Again, definitely not $100 million movie. So, my overall verdict for this movie is a 1.9 out of 5. Now for the spoilers. This is your spoiler warning. Spoilers ahead in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so now let me tell you how I really feel about this film. Here we go. So, in my own estimation, what is wrong with this film, to sum up, is it's a lot. There's a lot wrong with this film. For instance, let's look at the characters, okay? First of all, the antagonist, he is like cartoon villain evil. He might as well grow a mustache and start twirling it. His lines, like I said, are ADR. They're all just about the same monotone menace, very little emotion, and like I said, they don't sync up with his lips. So a lot of it's ADR. It's got to be ADR. And he goes off logic that simply does not make sense. He makes threats against people. He interacts with people in certain ways that it's like, how have you not like gotten on some kind of a watch list, my dude? Like, seriously. So he picks up this NSA chick because he wants to use her credentials to break in and use the NSA technology to essentially track down these 3 women. If you haven't seen the trailer, just go watch the trailer. It is pretty much the entire movie, okay? And, he basically, I've died in my dreams over and over and over, and it's in a vision, and, I'm going to kill these people. It's like, if I were her and I had a gun, I think I might be going to go and reach for it right about now. So yeah, and then he threatens his henchwoman, and it's like, oh, you can't find these girls. If you fail me, I will kill you. And it's like, well, what is she supposed to do? Like, she can't just make them appear out of thin air. And if we're really gonna get down to it, the only way she can actually fail you is if they kill you. So how are you going to kill her if you're dead? Doesn't really make much sense. Overall, he's not scary. He is not overwhelmingly intelligent, although he is depicted as having very deep pockets, hell a lot of resources, and you have no idea where it came from. He literally is just like, he just plopped down onto the planet like the Count of Monte Cristo, right? He's flush with cash and anything you could possibly want. I suspect he probably stole a lot of it. And so, yeah, he's not a threat. He's not a threat. If you have a pew-pew and you're outside of his arm's reach, bro, you can drop him like a sack of potatoes. Like, just, couple to the chest, one to the head, you're done. Period. He's not that big of a threat. But, granted, you're in New York. You can't have a pew-pew unless you have special permission, which I don't know how that's going in New York City or in New York State, but my heart goes out to you. 2A all the way, baby. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, let's see. He does get hit several times. He takes hits. He tanks a hit from a taxi as well as a flying ambulance. And somehow you want me to believe that by the end of the movie he's taken out because he falls 2 stories and has a marquee sign fall on top of him. Mind you, he has the durability of Spider-Man, who tanked a train at 200 miles an hour. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. But he's not. He's clearly dead. Our main protagonist, Madame Web, aka Cassandra Webb, she's not the typical Mary Sue, I wouldn't say, as her quote-unquote abducted wards don't necessarily like her at first, but they do tend to come around pretty quickly. Everyone else that she interacts with either loves her or adores her. Like, she's just a pillar of the community, loved by everybody, can do no wrong, is amazing, brilliant, whatever. Fine. Okay? You know, I don't care if you write a female character who is socially awkward. Or even that, she has a stray cat that she calls Cat. That's fine. I don't care. Right? As far as I'm concerned, you can make her a tomboy. She's a paramedic. Most females I've met in the EMS field, they're kind of tomboys, most of them. So I don't have a problem with that. And, people in the, it used to be called civil defense. It's not called that anymore, but, firefighters, police, EMS, they all have a very off-color sense of humor, kind of like the military. So, I can kind of relate to her a little bit. But I don't know. Her humor is just, I don't know. It's just not. It doesn't seem like it's not appropriate to the moment. Like for instance, there's a scene where she's driving, and this is the beginning. She's driving the ambulance. Ben Parker, who is Uncle Ben, the Uncle Ben, is in the back doing chest compressions, and she's just bantering back and forth with him, all, pally-pally, and it's like, okay, look, you need to focus and make sure not to crash into anybody, which she almost does run over someone. Granted, it's not really her fault. And Ben needs to concentrate on, number one, standing up straight because of your driving, but also keeping this person alive instead of your witty banter back and forth. So, I don't know. Some of the jokes landed. Some of the jokes didn't really land. But I think they want to give you the impression that Ben and Cassandra Webb have been working together for so long. They're so cool under pressure, and they're so gelled that they can ride in the heat of everything, right? While I'm sure there are people that do that, it's not very professional. And it didn't seem, it took the seriousness of the situation, away for me. So, the big thing, though, that I don't like about her character, and it has nothing to do with her personally, it has everything to do with the writing. Okay, so get this. She steals a taxi cab, which in New York City, I would almost bet money is probably LoJacked. And for those of you that don't know what LoJack is, that is a tracking software that you can put on cars so that you can track them should they be stolen, right? And I'm pretty sure that was around in 2003. Like, that's pretty old technology. So she steals this cab. Then she drops the girls off in the woods, tells them not to do anything stupid, drives back into New York City, decides to take the license plates off of the cab, and then proceeds to drive around in the said cab with no license plates. And if you wanted any more icing on top of your cake, she, at about it's probably a little past midway, decides, I have to go to the Amazon jungle. So I'm going to take this stolen cab with no plates into the airport, get a plane, an international flight, while I am wanted for 3 accounts of kidnapping, fly out of the country, fly back into the country, and continue driving the cab with no license plates. Yeah, I'm going to call BS on that. So, first of all, you're not going to get very far in a cab, especially if it's low jacked. Number 2, you have no license plates on your car. What on earth do you think you're going to do as soon as you, go past a cop? You're going to get pulled over, immediately. And then, it's 03, guys. It's 2 years after 9/11. She is wanted for kidnapping. Do you really think she's going to be making it on an international flight out of the country and then back into the country without getting arrested? I mean, granted, it's possible. It is possible. They only have, presumably, her face. So, maybe they can look her up through that. I mean, she is a civil servant. She's a paramedic. Her fingerprints and all that, they're on file. So, yeah, if they had any inkling as to who this person was, it would be pretty easy to track who it is down. And you're definitely not getting on a flight out of the country. Or when you arrive back in the country, you're definitely getting picked up. The other Spider Women, well, they're about as one-dimensional as the villain himself. They basically have just one real kind of characteristic that defines them. You have the Skater Rebel, who, in the beginning of the film, almost gets ran over by the ambulance. You have the Shy One, who is Sydney Sweeney, and she's introduced kind of awkwardly in the beginning. Webb saves her, I think it's her stepmom, and her stepdad is a total dick. Just like, you go home, we'll see you at home. You don't need to come and see my wife while she's in hospital, whatever. And then, let's see. And then you have Math Girl. Yes, she's good at math, and that's about the only thing she's good at, according to the film, because, I don't see her do anything else. And, yeah. Really, the only thing that unites all these girls, the common factor, including Madam Web, is that they all have either deadbeat dads or deadbeat families. Well, with the exception of Math. Her dad got deported, so, there's that. You gotta check that little box. Outside of that, almost all of the NPCs are shown as completely incompetent. They don't know what their jobs are. Oh, but that only counts if you're a guy. If you're a chick, you're amazing at your job. You're the bestest ever. Your name might as well be Rey Skywalker, okay? Even Uncle Ben, at one point, has to be reminded by Webb to check for internal bleeding on a patient. Thanks, Cassandra. He's a paramedic too. In real life, I feel like he would have known to do that. But because the writers want to make sure that you just understand how amazing she is, well, he's got that little oversight, so yeah. I don't really like that. Now, granted, there are some men who are not 100% incompetent, but pretty close to it. And so that's the characters, right? Let's look at the plot. So what is the plot? You have the mom who goes to the Amazon. She's studying spiders. That's all you know until the very end, right? She's shot by her guy who's running security. He wants to steal the spider, and he blows away 3 people. Maybe it's two or three, just because. And he steals the spider from the mom, accidentally shoots her. He gets away, and the spider people who live in the Amazon don't catch him, but they try to save the mom. Can't do it, but at least they do save the baby, Cassandra. The mom is so pregnant, like, she really shouldn't be in the Amazon, A. And B, well, Cassandra holds it against her mom. Literally, she goes to a baby shower and said, "Oh, my mom died in childbirth." I mean, it was her fault that she chose to be in the middle of the Amazon, so far away from medical, assistance, while so pregnant, right? And it's like, oh, goodness gracious. I can see why Cassandra didn't like her mom in a way, but it kind of makes up for it at the end, but not really. The logic doesn't follow. So let me get into why she's in the Amazon. Okay, Cassandra has some sort of genetic abnormality, right? And there is no cure. Supposedly, I don't know. She was told that by a female doctor. Could a male doctor have given her a cure? I don't know. Never know. They don't show it. What we do know is there is no cure, so she goes down to the Amazon to find this spider, which might, hopefully, cure her child. And yeah, that's it. That's like the whole gist. Do you recall another movie that was just like this? An amazing, strong, independent woman scientist who didn't need no man to tell her what to do, whose child had a genetic abnormality, and so she had to invent some BS cure. Oh, yeah, Jurassic World. This movie is Spider-Man Jurassic World, right? It's basically the same backstory. Okay, so Madam Web, she takes a tumble off a bridge, kind of drowns, dead for 3 minutes, brought back by CPR. Uncle Ben, why? Why did you do that? Now she can see the future. She's got to figure out how to do it, how to control it. She goes through several scenes where it's like, scene. Okay, now replay the scene. And replay it again. And then replay it again. Uncle Ben's sister-in-law is pregnant with a baby. The dad is nowhere to be found. No idea where in the world he's at. Doing whatever God knows he is doing, because they never tell you. Or why. And then, I think, now, for whatever reason, people, I didn't hear anybody bring this up, but during the baby shower scene, um, Webb is asked to guess the name of the baby. And she is just comically awkward. Like, she's eating an hors d'oeuvre, she's got to spit it out, and she's like, I don't know. Looking around, and she looks out the window, and there's Uncle Ben, and she's like, is it Ben? And the mom is like, yeah, it is Ben. For whatever reason, I haven't heard anybody recall that scene. But if you look up Peter Parker's middle name, I think it's his middle name. It might be his first. Anyway, his name is Peter Benjamin Parker. That is Spider-Man. So, Uncle Ben confirmed. And yeah, we move along. All three girls who the bad guy has seen in his dreams, who are supposedly going to kill him, are on a train. She saves them from the bad guy, gets them off the train, quote unquote, kidnapping them, takes them out to the woods, drops them off so they'll be safe, tells them, don't do stupid stuff. Just don't do anything stupid. Okay, what are they going to do? Well, they're kids. They're going to do what they're going to do. They go to a diner, flirt with some guys. A bystander sees them, and somehow, this is supposedly same day, he's got a newspaper with, I want to say it's drawings of them. Like, these three kids have been kidnapped. Now I'm going to call the police. Well, great. Upstanding citizen does that. And bad guy who has an NSA tech and somehow has an in with the police department. They intercept the call. He calls up police dispatch saying, hey, I am police officer such and such and such and such. I am on site, and these are not our girls, right? These are not the droids you're looking for. And they take it as fine. Great. Okay, cool. So when did you come, if you were in Georgia, you'd be like 1041. When did you 1041? Meaning when did you clock in? Because dispatch would know who this joker is. It would know his car number, his badge number, and had he been on any calls, right? Because you can't just be like, oh yeah, this is officer such and such and I am on the scene, right? No, that's not how that works. Even if he called dispatch, they'd be like, okay, I don't know that badge number and I don't know your name, so who the heck are you? But apparently he can just do that. So he goes to go kill him. Madam Web hits the bad guy with a taxi, saves the girls again, then takes him to a hotel. There's a scene where you think she's leaving them, but she drives back to the diner where they had their little encounter, only for her to then, like, straight up, like, force dyad Skype, like in Star Wars. And, okay, hold on. So she has this ability. She has powers that can do that sort of thing. As far as I'm aware, bad guy can't, right? Spider Bro can't do that. So how is he there talking to her? And then she wakes up. Apparently she was like some kind of dream / astral projection to the diner, and I don't know. It's weird. And I think it's shot kind of weird too, because it's not shot like it's a dream sequence. It's shot as though she's grabbing her keys or bag and she's leaving these kids at this hotel room for good. That's the kind of feeling I got from it. Anyway, she's all like, oh, I got to figure out what my mom was doing in Peru that's there, or in the Amazon. All the questions will be answered there. So she leaves the three girls with Uncle Ben, who is currently looking after his very pregnant stepsister. So, yeah, it's a full house, and they're just kind of piled in on there. She flies to the Amazon, meets up with one of the spider people who helped to save her. Somehow he is plainly clothed, speaks perfect English, knows exactly where in the Amazon to meet up with her, because this is the Amazon's a big freaking place. But somehow they run right into each other. And then he can explain, oh yeah, you are so great, you have these powers, you're the only one who can do this. So, yeah. And basically he says, with great power comes great responsibility, although he doesn't say it exactly like that. More to the point, he says that once you accept responsibility for this, or what does he say? Once you accept a great responsibility, you will receive great power. Basically, when you're ready, you will be unstoppable. So, flies back to America, somehow does not get picked up. Uncle Ben's sister-in-law, her water breaks, they gotta rush off to the hospital. So, he packs up the kids and the pregnant woman in a car. It's gonna take them to the hospital. And almost immediately, pulling out the driveway and down the road, they're spotted on some kind of camera. Facial recognition software. They know where the girls are. They pull a watchdog, turn all the lights green, cause a traffic jam. Madam Web goes to the house. Kids aren't there. She's like, what's going on? And she gets a little premonition. Ambulance shows up because Uncle Ben had actually called an ambulance, but it wasn't going to get there in time, or they didn't think it would get there in time. So they decided to just leave anyway. So the ambulance is sitting there. Madam Web gets out of her stolen taxi and now steals an ambulance. Okay, so she knows exactly where they're at. But before we get there, let me just back up for a moment, okay? Why did you have to take all three of the girls with you to the hospital? They were safe at the house. But even worse than that, if they were spotted that quickly, leaving the house, how did you get them back into town without being spotted? Like, just how? I don't understand that. They should have been spotted immediately. but for some reason, somehow, they were not. All right, so she steals the ambulance. She goes into a parking deck, up a couple of flights, and then runs right through a brick wall. And somehow the ambulance is not torn asunder, but she pulls out. Spider Bro jumps supposedly out of the way and actually jumps right into the way, and she just smacks him dead center of the grill, just bam. Knocks a grenade out of his hand, which falls underneath another car. I hope those people are okay, because that car's not okay. It blew up. The spider chicks now get into the ambulance, and she's all like, hey, you guys are safe now. He won't come after you. He's after us. So now, somehow, she takes off down the highway, even though there's a traffic jam. I'm not sure, A, how she didn't land on a car coming out, and B, how she's now moving down the street. But anyway, her premonition is all like, hey, we're going to take this AED. He's going to jump on the roof. We're going to shock him. Works well. Cool. Step 2. Go to the place where we were at earlier in the movie. You don't really know when this is because time is it's just flowing by. You know, you have no idea if it's been a week, if it's been a month. Probably not a month, but you know, you have no idea the flow of time. They come back to a warehouse, which is loaded with fireworks, which is kind of funny because A, there is no door. It's open to the public. You can go in and steal as much as you want. And then B, this building was on fire a couple of scenes ago. How are there fireworks in this building? But anyway, it's a death trap. She knows it's a death trap. So her plan is to run into this death trap, setting off all the fireworks. Bad guy, Spider Bro, he's going to come in and hopefully get caught in the fray. And her answer to not being caught in the fray with Spider Bro is to call air support. So she calls in an NYPD helicopter to get them off the roof. So hilarity ensues. Spider Bro shows up. Fireworks start going off. They are flying all over the place, but because she can see the future, she knows what's going to happen. She can tell the girls when to duck, dip, dive, duck, and dodge. Wait, I said that wrong. Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. There we go. Yes. And you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And apparently, you can dodge fireworks too. So they're jumping all around, ducking and dodging. There's one part where a firework actually comes and blows a hole through a brick wall. I don't think fireworks work that way, but whatever. And they make it to the roof all the time, dodging around, jumping around. Spider Bro shows up, and the third act low point, they're all about to die. Like, you have, I think all three of them, well, the three spider chicks are like hanging over this burning building that's shooting fireworks everywhere. And then Madam Web has been slapped around up on a catwalk, and he's all like, you can't beat me with your mind. You're just like your mother. So, was there a scene that got cut? I don't think the mom ever tried to beat him with her mind. Like, that's not in the movie. What are you citing? I don't understand. Please, movie, tell me what's going on. So, she's like, oh, well, I accept responsibility for my great power. And then all of a sudden, she can astral project to the point where she can actually manipulate physical matter. She splits into three. She helps the other spider chicks up so they're not dangling into the fire anymore. And Spider Bro's like, whoa, and then just punches her. And what's so funny is she knows that he's going to fall and the sign's going to fall on top of him. So she's like crawling away. And I'm pretty sure the whole time she's like, yeah, come on, come get me, come on, right? Like that one scene out of Predator. Oh, it's such a better movie. Anyway, if I were Spider Bro and I knew this person could see the future, which he might not know that, in all actuality, I don't know why he would suspect she could, other than watching her do all this crazy acrobatic BS around the fireworks. Um, it just seems like he could have left because the helicopter's gone, right? He tanks. Well, he doesn't tank. He smacks away a firework, which hits the helicopter, which then bursts into flames and crashes. So now she's killed not only the people in the car at the traffic jam, but now she's also killed those police officers in the helicopter. Um, so so there's no way off this roof, right? Unless they jump. So he could leave and he would win. Like they're dead, just period, point blank. He could leave, and well, he keeps egging toward her and just coming on and coming on and coming on until eventually he's in the right spot, hits his mark, falls off, hits the ground, sign falls down on top of him. And, well, funny thing is, somehow he hits the ground. Madam Webb, who is very close by, falls, and she falls in the river. Not sure how that happened, because they're really close to each other. You would think she would have fallen, like, next to him, or maybe even on top of him, but no, she falls in the river. And because she didn't see it coming, she gets smacked in the face by a firework. So, a couple of things. She is just kind of in the water, floating on her, well, sinking on her back. And it's kind of like that scene out of Man of Steel after Superman has rescued the people off the oil rig, and he's just kind of, chilling out there, and you got the whales in the background. Of course, he's Superman, he's fine. She, on the other hand, kind of needs to breathe oxygen. She's not a superhero. She can see the future, and that's about it, right? And then she gets smacked in the face with the firework, which is not going to happen, okay? She's in pretty deep water. It only takes about 6 feet of water to stop a bullet. Fairly certain that, yeah, sure, the firework would have sunk, but it would not have knocked her in the face with as much momentum as it did. But because of that, it prompts the Spider Chicks, or at least Sydney Sweeney's character, the Shy One, to jump in and get her, and then we have the payoff. She taught the girls CPR earlier, now they get to use it on her. And for some reason, this movie seems to think that CPR is like just the answer to everything, no matter what the problem is. You got poison? Great, CPR, it'll work. You're drowning? Great, CPR, it'll work. It won't. That's not how CPR works. So, yeah, she's brought back to life, and then we have Peter Parker being born. The closing scene is really just the girls being like, "Oh, we got you food," and she's like, "Oh, so and so, bless you," and then she sneezes. And she's like, "Oh, how's your vision?" And Madam Web's like, "Oh, my vision is better than it's ever been." And she can see the future. And they say, "Oh, the baby's doing fine, and Ben is so happy to be an uncle, and all the all the fun and none of the responsibility." And then, Madam Web smirks and like, "Huh, that's what he thinks." I want to point out she's smirking at the death of both Peter's mom and dad. They have to die, or something, have Peter removed from them somehow, probably through death, for Uncle Ben to then have custody over Peter. So, sure, maybe you think, "Oh, well, she's smiling because she sees all the good that Peter will do and all the good that Ben will do." But she also knows Ben is gonna die, and they're like best friends. And sure, you could say, "Oh, but it's for the greater good." You still really shouldn't revel in the death of people, even though you know it's going to happen. Like, I know there are people I don't like who are going to die. Do I revel in it? I mean, not really. I just know it's a thing that's going to happen. And it'll happen to everybody. But I don't know. It just seems out of place. And then the ending scene, you see all the spider chicks, including Madam Web, who's astral projecting because somehow she's paralyzed. She's actually in a wheelchair at this point. But she can still move around through her astral projection. Standing there all triumphant and suited up or ready to take on the world. And that's about it. Like, that's the end of it. Baiting, if you will, for another movie, which is not going to happen. I don't think any of these actresses are going to come back whatsoever. In fact, from my understanding, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney both fired their, who was the talent agency, I think? Their talent agents or managers or whatever, because they were led to believe this was a Marvel movie. It's not. It's a Sony movie. Spider-Verse, Marvel adjacent, whatever you want to call it. It's not an MCU movie. So, yeah, I don't think any of these people are coming back. Not to mention, I really hope these people who wrote this don't ever come back to Hollywood. They wrote Morbius. They wrote, what else was it? Several bad things. There's another one that was really bad. Gods of Egypt, I think is what it was called. And it's like, how do you people keep getting jobs? Stop. Just stop hiring these people. But anyway, I don't think it's a good movie. Again, I don't recommend it. If you want to go see it for the memes, you want to go see it for the laughs, fine. Knock yourself out. Whatever your opinion of the movie is, that's fine. If you liked it, great. More power to you. Good on you. But as a serious, superhero movie person, I really like the movies. I never was that big into comic books, but I really like the idea of superheroes and the mythology behind most of them. It's just, it's heartaching in a way because, I feel sorry for female superheroes. They have just gotten, no pun intended here, they've gotten the shaft so bad. And it's like, just write a good character. It's not that difficult, or it shouldn't be that difficult. Write a good character, have the plot make sense, and follow physics. Obviously you're going to have to bend some stuff because you're a superhero. Fine. But make a good movie. There is no way they spent they probably did spend upwards of $100 million on this movie, but it's just a total waste. I mean, look at Batgirl. That was a whole movie that we will never see. That was just canned. No idea how much they spent on that. But female superheroes will sell. And if you don't, look at Lara Croft. Her movie, well, she had 2 of them. They did pretty okay. The video games did amazing, at least until, the creators stopped caring about their actual creators and their franchise and whatnot. But you can market female heroines. There's nothing that says you can't. Just do a good job. That's all you gotta do. You gotta do better, Senator. Right? You can't write that in a freaking TV show. Stop. Anyway, I'm done whining. That's all I got to say about this movie. I'm not gonna see it again. I'm not gonna buy it unless, I don't know. I own all the Marvel movies, all the Sony Spider-Man movies. I even own Morbius, although I'm not very proud to admit it. Hey, well, maybe they'll troll Sony again into re-releasing into theaters. That would be funny because It's Morbin Time was just the best meme ever, and maybe they'll waste more money on it. Who knows? Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? Did you even see the movie? Or do you just gonna let it go by the wayside? I recommend the latter. Until next time, folks, keep searching in the darkness.